back.
I can't believe we made it.
I know what you guys are thinking. Probably, well, that was short-lived, but no, we're back. And behind the scenes, we have been talking about this.
Yeah.
We've been discussing, we've been sharing, we've been questioning all that stuff. Not questioning why we're going to do this, but questioning when we're going to do it, questioning why have we not done it, all those things. And it's led us to one thing, and that is authenticity. So it was very fitting because, and I think it's so funny, because I think that the Lord has a way of working, and authenticity was actually going to be the next episode before we took this long break. And so authenticity was not something that we were like, oh, let us come up with it and it'll be a good tie back into no, authenticity was going to be the topic regardless. Like that was going to be what we talked about. So that's what we're talking about today. We're going to cover authenticity, and it's going to be as authentic.
Oh, it's going to be real authentic. The irony is that, like, again, we planned this, 7 weeks ago, I want to say.
Maybe, yeah.
And, our lives just became real busy, as it does.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't mean that we're going to give up. We're just beginning again.
Yeah, exactly. It's good, yeah.
And we're going to talk today about, maybe some of our struggles. Like, I know I'm going to be authentic about some of my struggles and what's taken me away from filming, and just what life has looked like in the last month and a half.
Yeah, same. That's kind of what I'm gonna explore as well. I'm gonna dive into everything that has transpired over the last few weeks or several weeks. A lot of good, some warfare, but nothing that's like debilitating, so don't think like I went into like this deep depressive state of no, just some real mental warfare and stuff that was there right there at the finish line that forced me to kind of take a step back. So but yeah, that's kind of what we're gonna be talking about today. So
but when you get on our YouTube, maybe on the comments, shout out to Caleb, because he graduated with his master's in social work.
Yes. I did.
After many, was it 2 years?
2 years.
2 years of a lot of hard work.
Yes.
And staying up till, past midnight.
Yeah.
And writing 25 pages for just one paper on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been really cool getting to watch you the last semester and this semester doing all that and accomplishing that goal.
Thank you. Yeah, it's it was a big deal. I not many words come to my mind, and that was such a weird thing. I was talking to one of my family members, and I think there's been, and you can attest to this, there's just been a lot of honesty. Mm-hmm. There's been a lot of honesty, and I laugh because for what I did, and I might get into it a little bit. I don't know yet, but for what I did, it took a lot because there was a lot to unfold. And I could have honestly stood up there for a very long time, but I didn't want to get too long-winded. But just honesty is what came to my mind, authenticity throughout this whole week. And so anyway, I was talking to my family, and one thing that had happened was I had a family member who wasn't going to be able to make it, and she was devastated. She was torn to bits about it. And I looked at her and I told her, I said, listen, I love the support. I do. Support has been great. However, I did not put in 60 credit hours of work over the last 2 years, staying up late, waking up early, so that I could get a bunch of people to watch me walk across the stage for 30 seconds. So if you're calling to apologize, don't do that. Just, if you want to say congratulations, I'll take that. That's more than enough for me. And so when I say not much words come to my mind, that's about all that came to my mind. Just how glad I was to be that much closer to my calling.
Yeah.
and yeah, just to look back on it and to be able to say like I wouldn't have done it any other way.
Yeah. You know, talking about calling, you know, like that's something that I have been struggling with so much. Like I know God speaks to us in different ways, right? And like for you spoke about this like vivid image that God gave you and about what your farm's gonna look like, and you just have like this picture in your mind, right? And he spoke to you very clearly.
Yeah.
And I have been struggling because I'm like, okay, God, what do you want me to do? Like, how do I serve your kingdom? You know? And I've felt a few different things on my heart. I haven't gotten a clear answer. But the other day I was praying and I'm like, why can't you just give me an image like you did for Caleb? Like, why can't you just, like, I like specifically asked him, I was like, can you let me dream about what my calling is? And it sounds silly, but like that's part of how God wants our relationship to look like with him, like being authentic and being honest. And I was sitting there just like crying because I'm like, God, why don't you talk to me that way? And like, you know, why haven't you given me a clear answer? And I was just really frustrated with him. And I'm sitting down at my dining room table where for the last 7 weeks, I've been writing down stuff and like doing my devotionals every morning and every night. And I was just talking to him like if he was my friend, and I'm like, I'm really frustrated and like literally talking to myself out loud. And I know if someone else were in the room, they'd be like, all right, like, are you okay, Jenny?
I'm being authentic.
Yeah, I really have been. And God wants that. He wants to hear what we're truly feeling. Yeah. Like, obviously he knows what I'm feeling, but I mean, that's the whole point of the relationship with him, that we say it out loud to him and we're like, God, I'm mad at you right now. You know, like I'm really frustrated. I don't understand why you're not talking to me. And like, why are you not telling me what to do? But you were the first person that told me like, okay, well, sometimes you have to move, you know? And like, I've been just like, okay, but why isn't God telling me where to go and what exactly to do? Well, sometimes you're going to have to fail. I'm going to have to maybe make a move that, you know, I don't know if it's the right move. And if he doesn't want me to go there, he'll close the door. Yeah. And if he doesn't want me to go there, he'll open the door, you know? So.
No, you saying that, reminds me of something that in a season of struggle when I was thinking the same thing of like, well, what is it that you want me to do? It wasn't a voice that told me this is what you're doing. It was a strong feeling that told me or asked me the question of, what if God's voice is waiting for you in the failure? And so not a matter of, okay, you tell me what to do and then I go do it, but me go do it, fail, and then God is waiting for me there, almost like a checkpoint. Yeah. Like, okay, now that you failed, now let's talk. Yeah. You know, kind of thing. And that's always given me a lot of hope in everything that I've done moving forward ever since I had that moment with God. And I think it was probably last semester, to be honest, when I really had that clear vision of the farm, of all that stuff. It was because of a lot of failure that had transpired in my life, for him to then sit me down and say, hey, let's talk now, you know? Yeah. And again, it's not like I'm sitting here talking to you, but it's like just everything comes to fruition. Everything just comes to light. He kind of guides you and pushes you in that direction and brings a lot of peace in your life. Yeah. And so.
And I don't think it happens that way for everyone either, because I have a friend that she was going to make a really big life decision, really big move, and it was either for her to go to New York or Los Angeles for her career. And she kept kind of asking God the same thing, like, okay, but where do you want me to go? Tell me what to do. Tell me what. And she was like, well, I had to figure out that I needed to move forward with a decision. And so she moved forward with a decision, and her decision was Los Angeles. And so she started looking up, you know, Airbnbs or rentals. She started to plan her whole life there. And she says that she got a very clear, affirming know because every single door closed.
Yep.
Every single door closed. And she was like, okay,
Yep.
I guess New York it is. And so she started looking into New York, and everything was just falling in line.
Yep.
Falling in line.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. That's exact. And that right there is such a good example of I guess being persistent and listening, you know?
Yeah.
Like, again, that's failure. You know, that's failure. And we'll talk about failure and how it ties into authenticity, because I think they go pretty much hand in hand. But, you know, I had that same experience, really. You know, it's like all the doors were just like slamming shut in my face. You know, it's like you walk through a door, it slams. You walk through a door, it slams, like that, until it doesn't.
Yeah.
And you walk through a door, and then it's like, you ever been in like a changing room, and you can look in a mirror, and it's just like this infinite, like you can see as far as the mirror goes, like there's a million of you.
Yeah.
That's how it is. You just keep walking through doors, and they're lined up, and you don't have to.
Like, oh, none of them are closing.
Yeah,
Okay.
like
And
that's how it works.
it's not a labyrinth,
Right,
you know?
right. Until you make the wrong move, then it closes, and you look
Yeah.
right next to you, and there's the open door. And that's to me how the direction kind of worked for me. Very similar to like how you're speaking about your friend.
And part of that too is other people. I think God will speak through other people too.
Yeah.
So something that I've been praying a lot to God about, well, obviously with like my calling and like where do I go next career wise and all that. And I felt today like he gave me a little glimpse of like, he kind of guided me towards a thought I've been having. So I'm part of a leadership program, and actually today was our last leadership day. It's a 10-month program, and we get to like meet with personnel and like professionals from different industries. So today was all about medicine, so like healthcare, hospitals and stuff like that. And so I worked in healthcare for almost 10 years of my life before coming up here, and I did not enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'm going to go back into healthcare, but specifically the marketing side. So the director of marketing was one of our, she was one of our like tour guides today, basically. And her and I really connected well. And she offered, like, hey, you know, like if you ever want to come visit, you know, like I have an open door policy. Like, you want to come, you want to stop by, you want to have a chat, or, you know, you want to see what I do. And I was like, I've been wanting to shadow someone in marketing because I want to learn all the different aspects of marketing. And what's really cool about her job is that she's kind of like a one-stop shop. So she wears a bunch of different hats. She gets to do the PR, so like all the public relations, the media. She gets to do all the social media, the content creation. She gets to do all the like media releases for the hospital. She gets to put events on for the community. And so I thought it was really cool that, you know, I got to make that connection today. And that was God kind of affirming like, okay, what you've been thinking is correct. I do really enjoy marketing, but I need more guidance and more expertise, you know?
Sure.
So I thought that was really cool that she offered that. And, you know, she was very welcoming and seemed very authentic.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, I think, you know, we talk about authenticity. A thought had just come up in my mind, and that's this idea of like the most important thing to establish is authenticity with God. You know, because that's going to allow for honesty to set in its totality.
Yeah.
You know, I was on my run this morning, and it was the first run I had in, I don't even know. It's been a while since I've ran. And that's something I'll get into in a second. But I was running, and I was thinking of this word authenticity this morning. And one of the things that came to my mind is the fear of authenticity nowadays, and how it has shaped society to be very individualistic. Or maybe the complete opposite, now that I'm thinking about it, very collective. And so individualism is something that's a foreign concept now. and we think that we're all our same person or we're all our own person, but really we're just a bunch of individuals who are trying to live this unauthentic life because we're being influenced by successful, unauthentic people.
Yeah.
And so it was just this big thought that I had, and how those are worldly conformities.
Yeah.
Like those are things that we're conforming to in this world.
Yeah.
We see the next biggest trend, or we see the next, most popular thing, or the least popular thing, and we shy away from that, or the thing that isn't popular, and we're like, okay, we can't do that. Or my favorite thing in the world is when there's a bunch of people in a room who say one thing, and then the one person who doesn't agree joins in on what they believe, right?
Yeah.
These are all things that happen every single day.
Yeah.
And so I think authenticity has been shied away from. I think authenticity is something that has been shunned, might be a good word. So yeah, I think that these are things that require for you to first get right with God.
Yeah.
You have to know what it means to be authentic with God. Go to God.
Not edit yourself in front of him.
Exactly. Well, you can't. You can't
because he knows
Yeah.
everything, and you're gonna be ashamed sometimes to go to him unclothed. But I mean, how can you have a true authentic relationship with him if
Right.
you are editing yourself?
Yes. And if you can't be authentic with your maker, what in the world is going to make you think that you're going to be able to stand in front of a stranger and be authentic around them as well?
Yeah.
What in the world makes you think that if you can't be authentic with your maker, you're going to be able to be authentic with yourself?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You won't be. You're going to lie to yourself.
Yeah, and I have a little story about that. So, on Mother's Day, I was having a really hard time. I mean, I had a great day. We went to Churchill Downs with Mom and Dad, and I got to see the horse races for the first time. And we got to dress nice and whatever. It was really cool. Mm-hmm. We had a wonderful day with my mom, but I was on social media, and I'm seeing like all these people and all my friends, and they have families of their own, and how much I want to be a wife and a mother.
Yeah.
And so seeing all of that, of course it hurts me. So
I mean, yeah. That's something that you long for.
So, I think it was yesterday. I was leaving my office, and a colleague of mine, she bumps into me, and I asked her. So she's single now. She's divorced, and she has one child. And I asked her
Hang on. Sorry.
Okay, well, she... Thanks, Caleb.
Sorry. I had to. I was like, what am I doing?
Thank you.
Yeah.
So she's divorced now, and she has one child. And I asked her, how was Mother's Day? When I asked her, it's not that I didn't expect a positive response, mm-hmm. But I was making small talk, right? That was kind of my intention. But in that moment, she was actually very authentic and very real with me. And she let her guard down, and she was vulnerable. And she was like, honestly, it was hard, Jen. And I felt so connected to her. I felt so connected to her, the fact that she could be authentic with me. And, and I've been praying, this is a really small town. And so there's no one here that's my age. And if they're my age, they're married. So it's like finding single women that are my age is really hard.
Sure.
And so I've been praying that God puts the right people in my life, put me in rooms that, that are going to lift me up and propel me to be successful, and put me in rooms with leaders, things like that. And so that was another real life manifestation of God's provision and what I've been praying for. And he put this woman in my life that, mind you, she's just my colleague. We've only ever had small talk. And now we're gonna go get coffee next week and sit down and talk and, you know, read our Bible together. And she even prayed for me. And of course, I was crying. Are you surprised?
No.
Yeah, she laid hands on me and just prayed for me, and I really appreciated that from her, and I appreciated her being able to be authentic with me.
Yeah.
Even though our relationship has always been very surface level, you know, so that was a huge blessing.
Yeah.
I've seen God twice in actually yesterday and today answer my prayers, so that was really cool.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah.
I think you used a word or two words that go really, really well together. That's authenticity and vulnerability. There was a ton, just in the last, like, first of all, 5 weeks there's a lot that's happened in 5 weeks that, like, I just don't even think I've processed it all. But there's been so much, like, requirement of authenticity because of it's just the little things. We won the conference championship, so that was awesome. And there was just this natural amount of authenticity. Why? Because we were successful. And so it was easy to be authentic. It was easy to express this moment of just happiness and cheerfulness and joy and, like, hard work, and it was so easy. In fact, it was hard not to be authentic in that moment.
Yeah.
And so we working all week, we're working hard, working tirelessly, and we like to pretend like we're not tired, you know? And so we're just working our butts off. And so, you know, me, your dad, and Diego, we had a really good conversation about our callings and what is our why and how we can't forget those things.
Yeah.
You know, and that was a good conversation. And it felt good, you know, it felt like a relief, like, okay, so we all are thinking this. We're just not acting like it. And so we get to Iowa, and, you know, all these things are coming on social media, and we're favored to win our pool, and we're favored to, you know, make it a good run at the semis, and we're going in at the number 5, and it's the first time we've been there in however long, and you know, Campbellsville's finally back, and we're gonna see something great happen. And that was, again, me being vulnerable here and authentic. There was pressure there.
Yeah.
There was pressure. Because nothing is guaranteed, right? So we get to the tournament, the national tournament, and everything's different. Everything. I mean, you know, from the time we got there, it was just different. All these teams in one hotel. It felt like we were quarantined. That's the best thing. That's the way that somebody asked me, like, what was it like? I was like, I honestly feel like I was quarantined. From Sunday to Thursday, we were in a hotel. Inside a building in a hotel, Monday to Thursday. It took a toll on you. You know, like, it was kind of tiring within itself. And then we practiced every day, which was interesting. I thought it was good, but it was interesting. I was having to rent out a space or a gym, you know, reserve a time for a gym, and then get on the bus and go there and practice. And then, you know, you're in these towns and people are wanting to take pictures, you know, these small towns. And then, you know, you have, like, the exhaustion of just trying to be cooperative with one another. And then we played the number 12 seed, and I blinked and we had lost. And to me, somebody asked me, like, called me after and was like, I'm so sorry for the loss. And it was a gut punch, because it's like, you know, in that moment, we're forced to be authentic. I mean, what are we gonna do? Hide a loss?
Yeah.
Hide an upset? The 12 upset the 5. You know, what are we gonna do? Hide that? We can't. It's getting blasted all over social media. You know, there was one post of like a highlight that happened that got 6,000 views or likes, like 100,000 views, you know, and it happened in that game, and so people know what that happened in that game. And then you're getting text messages, look what I saw, how did you know? It's like that, and you're forced to be authentic in that moment. And then it's like authenticity suddenly becomes hard. And so to me, vulnerability is hard when there's a negative outcome.
Yeah.
Because I take these two polarizing situations of extreme success and extreme disappointment, and this one was harder than this one, but both required the same amount of vulnerability.
Yeah. And it's a risk. Authenticity is a risk as well.
Of course. That's why it's vulnerable.
Right.
That's why authenticity is vulnerable. And so in that moment, you're forced to be authentic. You know, we scheduled the wrong practice time.
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah. We scheduled the wrong practice time. But that's just something we didn't know.
Yeah.
You know, we just didn't know. And so it's just all that stuff. You know, we were forced to be authentic in that moment and just be real and be honest, you know, because that's what was going to get us the furthest, you know, and then being able to get on that bus and go back and kind of just say, like, we weren't meant to win that. We weren't. And being able to be authentic with one another.
Yeah.
And saying we were not going to win that. We weren't meant to win that this year. That allowed for your father, Coach Alvarez, to say, we got to do it different now. Now we know. Now we know what it takes. Now we saw at the highest level how this game has evolved. Now we can go back and we can do it better next year. But
Failure's feedback.
It is, right? That's what we say. Failure's feedback.
Always say that, yeah.
Yeah. And so being authentic with one another in that moment, I get chills just thinking about it, allowed for us to say, now we know what it takes to win a championship. We had to fail. This group had to fail so that next year's group can succeed.
Yeah.
But all that took authenticity instead of saying, like, oh, you know, like that the freaking refs, which by the way the refs were.
They're good or bad?
Like best refs in the world.
Really?
I don't think they missed a call.
Really?
Yeah, it was incredible.
Oh.
And I think one time they missed a call, and I looked, and your dad looked at me and was like, I'll just whatever.
Let them have it.
Yeah, whatever. You know, and so like, you know, but I'm just saying, like, there's not blaming it. There's not excuses. There's just honesty and authenticity about what happened, and humbleness, and all those things in one.
Yeah.
That's going to allow for this team to flourish and transform in the long run.
Yeah.
So.
Well, your story about going to nationals and probably a little bit about me helps me resonate with like Nehemiah, because I know we've kind of said the little cliche phrase that like God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that a lot of the guys too, they may have felt, I'm sure there was spiritual warfare there too, because everyone knows that you guys are a team that has a really strong culture, you know? And you pray, whether you win or you lose, with your opposing team after every game. And I saw you guys do that on that big stage. Mm-hmm. The devil didn't want that.
And I actually want to say, like, actually, you made me realize something that I forgot. So I want to thank you for that, first of all. But, and again, this is not for me, like, I'm not like saying like, oh, look what I do. Mm-hmm. I don't want that to come across. But every single game in the regular season, I prayed a prayer. And part of that prayer was, allow for us to win so that you continue to give us the opportunity to praise your name at the highest level. Mm-hmm. That's what the prayer that I prayed. Yeah. And so we went to nationals and we got to do that.
Yeah. And we might not be the best team or the most qualified, right? But God calls the people that aren't the most qualified. Like Nehemiah did not even know how, he was a cupbearer, okay? He didn't know how to build a wall, and he was called to do something that he didn't even know how he was gonna do it.
Yeah, it was gonna save literally.
That was right. And he was called to leave his land to go to Judah and build a wall. Mm-hmm. He had no clue how he was gonna build this wall. Yep. But he trusted God. He moved forward.
Yes, he did.
And he prayed and he just started
Yep.
with no qualifications.
Yep.
His resume was not a
And he didn't hire
construction worker.
He didn't hire private contractors.
no, not at all. And yeah, so I've just been, I'm gonna actually read the book again because I need a reminder. I need a reminder about, you know, not quitting even when the enemy is opposing you.
And what authentic servant leadership looks like.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure that you guys also had many opportunities in those points to quit and be like, oh, we're not going to do this anymore. Like, I can't do this. And Nehemiah had a lot of different opportunities to quit.
Yeah.
There was a lot of stumbling blocks and he chose to keep moving forward. So I just want that to be a reminder to me, especially because you know how much I've been struggling with where do I go next. And I sometimes can like become a hermit. And actually I also want to be authentic with specifically like my struggle with filming, because that's another thing I had to realize how strong, like how real spiritual warfare is. The devil has gotten in my head so many times and said, you are not worthy. You are not enough. You are stupid. Who's going to listen to your podcast? Who are you going to reach? You're an idiot. And how many times have I been laying there on the ground? It's happened like 2 or 3 times where I'm literally on the couch crying.
Yep.
Or I'm like on the floor crying and I'm like, no, Caleb, no, I can't do it. And I'm having a full-on panic attack. Because I'm not good enough and I'm not qualified. And who's going to listen to me?
Yeah. You have done that.
I have.
And I was actually sitting here thinking today, like, look how casually we're setting this up and like gonna go for it, you know? But if it took those crying sessions.
And maybe they're not over, Caleb, because progress isn't linear.
Oh gosh.
I have to say that, like, if I'm being authentic, like, I have to say, like, even in my weight loss journey, and like, I'm gonna read some things out loud that I've been writing in my prayer journal. So these are some things that I feel convicted about. One of them is my tongue. That has to do, number one, with cuss words, but if we're not being literal, also like negativity. And so when the devil puts those thoughts in my mind, I've been asking God every time to redirect my thoughts. And then out loud, I will start saying things that I love about myself and things that, just positive things about myself and speaking life into myself. Something else too that I feel convicted about that, you know, I'm struggling with is like my weight loss. And that progress hasn't been linear either. I've done really well at some points and lost weight in a consistent manner. And then I can't freaking lose 1 pound. And for the last 2 weeks, my weight's been stagnant. And so I had to change my plan. I failed, I learned, I changed my plan. And I have been authentic with God in that process. And like every single time I'm having like a craving, I'm like, I drink water and I pray. And I'm like, God, please take this away from me. Like, help me think of something else. I don't know. Like, or I start walking, I start doing something because, like, that's what God wants us to do. Take every single struggle to Him.
Yeah.
And especially when you feel ashamed. You know, like, and we say that the church is a hospital. You know, He wants us to come to Him dirty and ashamed.
Yep.
And so I've also been trying to like implement that into my prayers, that talk about what I feel convicted about, what I feel, what I want to repent for, and thank Him that every single morning I have a chance to renew my mind, my body, and my spirit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's like authenticity is about moving past your dirt, you know, or embracing it,
Yeah.
you know, embracing it. So, you know, that's a key part of authenticity, and not forcing it, you know, not being like, look at my,
Yeah.
but if it happens, if it comes out, then being okay with it, you know, because that's you being shaped, that's you being molded, you know.
Definitely.
And that's so important in this transformation process. You know, going back to your routine, I think I've put on maybe 15 pounds. You know, and it was so hard for me. Like I had to lie. I was lying to myself, honestly. You know, I was like, this isn't happening. You know, it is what it is. It's not happening. Like it's gonna stay, whatever. And I was gaining weight, but I had to be honest with myself. Why? That's why I had to ask myself, why am I gaining weight? Not denying it. I am, but why? I had to be authentic with myself, and I realized that it's because I have other goals too. I have other priorities that I had to put. I had to get good grades. That was part of my thing. Remember, straight A's.
Yeah.
I had to win a championship. I had to graduate.
Yeah.
And so what did I sacrifice for that? I sacrificed my running. I failed. I sacrificed the podcast. I failed. Which, by the way, us not doing the podcast is my fault. It is. We're being authentic. It's my fault. But Jenny was very supportive in me with that whole thing. So.
And I also struggled in that because for like almost maybe 4 weeks, I was like, I'm not going to say a damn word to him. I'm not going to say anything to him. And he knows this already because I talked to him about it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything to him. I'm just going to pretend like, you know, it never happened. And like, if he doesn't want to do it, well, fine, that's on him. I was angry at him and he didn't even freaking know.
Yeah.
He didn't even know and I was angry at him.
Yeah.
And one day I'm at the gym and I'm just going down the list of things I feel convicted about. I didn't list pride. You know, we should talk about pride.
We can.
Can we talk about that next week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pride.
So I'm talking about, or I feel the word, I didn't list pride and I felt the word pride on my heart. And I'm like, oh God, what am I being prideful about? Like, what are you talking about? And he says, Caleb podcast. And I'm like, so I like literally went to the bathroom because I'm dramatic, you know? And I just was like crying and I was like, kill my pride, kill my pride, kill my pride, Jesus, kill my pride. Like just over and over and over and over and over again. I was looking at myself in the mirror saying, kill my pride, kill my pride. And then that day, that was a Monday, and I was gonna go talk to him that day, but I was like, no, I was being disobedient again. I delayed my obedience to Jesus. Delayed obedience is still disobedience.
Yeah.
So I didn't go talk to him. I didn't go talk to Caleb for like maybe 3 or 4 more days because God like sucker punched me again and he was like, go talk to him. So I was just like, Caleb, are you busy? And I just texted him and like, I don't even know if you ever read my messages in like the way that I speak. Like, can you tell when I'm being sassy or being...
No, I read, are you busy? I think I said no.
And so I went to go talk to him and whatever, we were talking in the car and I was like, I just want you to know that I'm angry with you.
You did do that.
And he's like, okay, well what? Like,
Yep.
so, you know.
I will say, I think covering, actually talking about this too, and I was just thinking about this, I think our friendship is so dynamic and it works so well because of our ability to be authentic with one another.
Yeah.
Because again, we've recognized that we can trust each other with that level of authenticity, and I think that goes to show the power of authenticity.
For sure.
And how there's moments where, you know, we get frustrated and there's moments of tears and there's moments of anxiety,
And anger
and all those things.
Yeah.
But our ability to just be open and honest about that and authentic about it allows for us to just move past things, work with each other and all that stuff. And so I think that kind of like, there's not a picture perfect friendship.
Of course not.
you know. And so, but I think our friendship is built on authenticity.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's important to point out, because it goes back to how authenticity moves,
Sure.
or how authenticity allows for movement.
Yeah, and your true friends, you know, people that are in your inner circle, they are going to be able to create space for your authenticity and your vulnerability.
Definitely.
And if they are unable to, if they're not capable of doing that, they probably shouldn't be in your inner circle.
Correct. Yes.
You know, because I can step out of my character and be my ugliest self and recognize it, apologize to Caleb, and he's probably still angry at me in the moment, but he's like, I know your heart. And we move past it. And same for him.
Yeah.
Like where he's had moments and then he comes to apologize to me and I might be angry at him, but I'm like, oh, that's just Caleb. Like I know his heart, and I know that it's not out of malice, you know?
Right. And that, but yeah, and so authenticity allows for communication as well.
For sure.
You know, and so I think all those things are important components of transformation that authenticity opens the door for. Communication, you know, movement, it allows for honesty, it allows for collaboration. Like there's a lot of things that it does, you know. But to be authentic effectively, you have to first be authentic with God and learn what that means, so that you can be authentic with yourself, and that so you can then carry yourself in an authentic manner, not worrying about what the world has to offer, not worrying about conforming to the societal norms and doing what's popular and doing what's considered normal, you know, but taking that alternate route. The Bible is very clear about turning away from the ways of the world. I want to say it's in Corinthians. Don't quote me on that, just in case I'm wrong. But I mean, it talks about it in more than one part of the Bible. So, you know, that's the thing, right? That's the calling. That's what we need to do. It's so deeply rooted in transformation. Authenticity is.
Definitely.
Right? It's like taking the mask off of transformation and saying, look at my process, not my progress. Look at the process.
Yeah. Well, because how can you have true feedback if you're not authentic, you know, with yourself and your journey?
Yeah. It goes back to the whole team thing.
Yeah.
And I got really vulnerable and authentic in the moment when I got that award that I had received for the conference. And it just set me back, and it told me, or when I looked at it, I just looked at it and was like, there's so much value in this award.
Yeah. And
that was because the value of success is measured in the difficulties of hard work.
Yeah.
So if something's gonna come easy to me, can you really measure that as success? You know, if it's something that's super easy, you know, what is your standard of success? You know, is that value of success valuable, you know, or is it just an accomplishment? I think there's a difference between success and accomplishment, but that'll be a conversation for another day.
Yeah. Well, we're not done.
No, we have come a long way.
Yeah.
But we have a long way to go.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
So we'll see you next week when we talk about pride.
That's right.